Gao Tu often found himself wishing, aching even, that he could finally tell Shen Wenling the truth. "Shen Wenling, I'm an Omega," he wanted to say, over and over in his mind, rehearsing the words as though speaking them aloud could somehow change the impossible reality. But he couldn't. 10 years of history, 10 years of friendship carefully built on a lie, on the idea that Gao Tu was nothing more than a calm, reliable beta hung between them like an invisible wall. To reveal the truth now, after that night, after the overwhelming heat and passion that had bound them together in ways neither of them fully understood, could shatter everything. And yet, every fiber of his being wanted to tell him, wanted to throw caution aside and simply be honest, to say, "I am yours in every sense." The night had changed everything. Gao Tu remembered it vividly, the way Wenling had moved, the tension in the air, the way his own body had reacted despite every effort to control it. He had tried, truly tried, to keep his secret, to hide his identity as an Omega. But the heat had betrayed him, and the chemical pull between an 80% plus compatible alpha like Wenling had left him powerless, submitting to a desire that neither fully consented to nor fully understood. Gao Tu had loved Wenling for over a decade, and yet the circumstances of that night had been raw, uncontrollable, and overwhelming. Wenling didn't remember. He couldn't possibly know. But Gao Tu did, and every time he looked at Wenling, every time he heard his voice, his chest ached with the memory. It was both intoxicating and terrifying, a storm that he could neither escape nor embrace fully. Returning to work after that night was almost unbearable. Gao Tu had to maintain his composure, smile as if everything were normal, laugh at Wenling's casual jokes, respond to mundane office matters, all while his heart was racing, all while memories of Wenling's touch, his scent, the forceful way he had taken him in the night haunted him. How could anyone function after such an event? Gao Tu had no choice. He had to act as if nothing had happened, to protect the fragile mask of normalcy that Wenling expected from him. Every glance, every accidental brush of fingers, every shared look sent electricity through him, and yet he had to pretend it was nothing. Inside, though, he was breaking. Every day, every moment, the tension built, tightening around his chest like an invisible vice. Gao Tu's secret gnawed at him endlessly. He wanted so badly to tell Wenling the truth, to reveal that he was an Omega, to explain the truth behind the night they shared. But fear held him back. Wenling despised Omegas. Wenling had no tolerance, no understanding for them. And Gao Tu knew the consequences if that secret were revealed. Friendship, trust, their years of shared history, it could all be destroyed in a single word. And yet, in the quiet moments when no one else was around, Gao Tu let himself imagine it. He pictured Wenling's face, the surprise in his eyes, the realization of who Gao Tu really was. Would he hate him? Would he reject him entirely? Or, in some quiet corner of his heart, would he feel the same pull, the same undeniable connection that had drawn them together that night? The thought both comforted and terrified Gao Tu. Work became a balancing act of emotions. Gao Tu moved through the office with the same calm efficiency he had always displayed, answering emails, organizing schedules, attending meetings, but beneath the surface, his mind was constantly preoccupied with Wenling. Each time he heard Wenling's footsteps approach, his heart would lurch. Each time Wenling spoke, each time he looked at Gao Tu with casual attention, the memories of that night rushed back, unbidden and relentless. It wasn't just desire. It was longing. It was fear. It was the dangerous knowledge that he carried within him a connection Wenling could never imagine, an invisible tether, pulling them together despite the risks, despite the lies, despite everything Gao Tu had tried to keep hidden. And then there were the quiet moments when Gao Tu was alone, when the office lights dimmed and the world outside moved on without him. Those moments were both his refuge and his punishment. He would replay the night in his mind, over and over, analyzing every movement, every word, every touch. How had it come to this? How had the man he loved for so long so purely, so completely ended up entangled with him under circumstances neither of them had chosen? neither of them had fully understood? Gao Tu's chest ached with the weight of it. He wanted to scream, to cry, to confess, but he couldn't. The danger of revealing his identity, of being known as an Omega, was too great. So he endured, silent, alone in his thoughts, hoping somehow that the connection between them, fragile and secret, could survive without exposure. Every interaction with Wenlang was a test of control. Gao Tu had to balance the constant ache of longing against the necessity of hiding his true self. He wanted to speak, to move closer, to feel Wenlang's presence without fear, without restraint. But the fear of being discovered, the fear of losing everything was a constant restraint. Every smile he forced, every casual word, every step he took in Wenlang's proximity was carefully measured, meticulously planned. Yet despite all precautions, Gao Tu could not stop the surge of emotions that followed every glance, every brush of their hands, every accidental whisper of closeness. The memory of the night lingered, an invisible bond that tethered them together, dangerous and unbreakable. The tension was compounded by the unspoken rules of their world. Wenlang, as an alpha, could never understand the Omega he had unknowingly been drawn to. Gao Tu, as an Omega, was conditioned to require a mate's presence to fully thrive, especially after the intense heat and intimacy of that night. Every day he spent near Wenlang, every unguarded smile, every accidental touch, reminded him of the risks, the dangers, and the impossible love that bound them together. And yet, he stayed. 10 years of loyalty, 10 years of silent devotion could not be erased. Gao Tu's heart, fragile and conflicted, refused to let go, even as fear and longing waged a constant war within him. And so, the days passed, heavy with tension, but outwardly normal. Wenlang remained oblivious, moving through his life with effortless control, unaware of the storm raging quietly around him. Gao Tu, meanwhile, carried the weight of a secret so heavy that it threatened to crush him, yet he endured. Every heartbeat reminded him of the dangerous truth. He was an Omega. He had been touched by the Alpha he loved, and the consequences of discovery were unthinkable. But even in the fear, even in the solitude, even in the constant ache of longing, Gao Tu could not abandon his post. To leave would be to abandon the man he loved, to abandon the years of care, attention, and loyalty that defined their bond. He endured, silently, painfully, and endlessly. He longed to confess, to reveal himself, to claim even a small piece of the love he had nurtured silently for 10 years. But fear held him in place, and so he remained silent, suffering in secret, yet unable to stay away.